Well, hello, my beautiful people. Welcome back to my channel if you're returning, and if you are new, welcome to you as well. This is Christine. Today I have two beautiful wood round DIYs for you. So let's get crafting. For both inspiration, we're going to use two wood rounds. I got these in a pack of 12 from Amazon for $12.99. When you check the prices, it's cheaper than what you would get at the Dollar Tree for $1.25. So for this one, I am going to take a piece of masking tape and I'm just separating the areas that I need to paint, making sure that each section is even. So I'm using the ruler to just measure that. And guys, I must apologize. I'm giving this disclaimer from the very beginning. I am outside and you're hearing traffic. That's because where I work is right next door to the highway. So here I'm using some red folk art apple, and I'm also using a DIY sponge dauber that I made from a piece of sponge and the wood section that came from the Dollar Tree sponge dauber. So I just cut a hole in a piece of sponge that I had, added some hot glue, and just stick the piece of wood in there, and there you have a sponge dauber. So once I put that red paint on and it dried, I just peeled off the tape and flipped it on the other side. Did that for both sections. Next, I took some Waverly antique wax and a small brush, and I painted on the antique wax. And after I painted it on, I took a baby wipe and wiped away the excess. I did not like how it looked, and so I decided to change it. So after I wiped on and wiped off and removed the tape, I'm now ready for the next step. I got this stencil in a set from Temu way back when I was ordering from Temu. I am no longer ordering from Temu, but anyway, that's another story. So now I want the animal print section to fall right below where my border is, the red border is. So I just measured it, taped it down, and then I'm going to use a little Mod Podge on top of the surface, and that's to prevent bleeding. I do this sometimes. This is an optional step. You don't necessarily have to do that. Next, I took a piece of sponge and this folk art flat paint in coconut milk, and I'm going to dab on the leopard print section as well as the words. And with the sponge, you don't need a lot of paint because the sponge helps to spread the paint on the stencil a lot further. So now that's done, let's peel this off, and this is what it looks like. And I am not exactly happy with how the leopard print came out. I wanted to leave the top with just the antique wax, but I decided to add the leopard print there. Still wasn't happy with how it looked. I decided to close those little spaces, so I took a small paintbrush and the paint and just closed that. Not liking this, so I decided to paint that all white, and this is what it looks like. Now, to give it a little bit more texture and dimension, I decided to add some of the antique wax on the white sections. So I just taped down the red because I didn't want any of the antique wax to get on that portion. And I'm using a dry chippy brush. I just removed the excess on a piece of cardboard and then just going in one direction from the top to the bottom, just stroking on the antique wax on here. Now this brush is a little stiff because this is not exactly how I wanted it to look. I could not find the other brush that I usually use, but this is giving it that wood look, and I think I like how this turned out. I'm glad I decided to paint that out, and I did that for both sides. And that was a little bit too heavy, No worries, I just went over it again and just faded that out with the brush. And then I removed the tape, dried it. You want to make sure that your paint is dried properly. And before I do anything else, I decided to add my Mod Podge. So I just took the Mod Podge and my little sponge dabber or sponge brush and applied that and then dried it. And now to give it a little bit more embellishment, I took a gold marker and just drew a line right above where the red meets the white. This is optional. This is just embellishment from this point on. I got this greenery wreath from an Amazon outlet in my area for $5. And of course, I'm not going to use this as a wreath. So I'm just pulling off some pieces to make a swag. But because they look so plasticky, if that is a word, it is now. I took some Waverly chalk paint in moss, and this brush that you see me with, that is the brush that I was looking for earlier. It eventually turned up. So I've done this a few times. Here I'm using the paint on the greenery or the floral just to tone down the sheen a little bit and give it that matte look. And I did that for all my pieces, and then I just cut them apart where I have even amounts on both sides. I took a piece of wire that came off a flower pick. Those things you don't throw out either. And then I'm just separating them, and I'm going to make my swag using the jute cord. And now that that is done, I set that aside. I am going to make a bow. Now guys, this is how I discovered how I can make the bow when my ribbon is too stiff. That ribbon in the middle, I got that from the Dollar Tree, and I glued that on top of this other ribbon that I got from BB Craft. I've been using this ribbon for almost 3 years. So here I'm folding in just a small piece of the bow. And then I took the outer part with the outside facing upward, brought that over on my bottom piece where you have the wrong side facing upward, because when you fold it over, you want the right side to be on top. As I am looking back at this to do the voiceover, I realized that the first 2 layers, I did not twist those. So if your ribbon is one side right and one side wrong, you want to make sure that you start twisting once you get your first layer down. I use my finger as a measurement to just measure the distance where I needed to fold the ribbon over on top of itself to twist it. If this was double pattern or double-sided ribbon with the same design on both sides, then you would not have to twist it. But because you want your right side to be on the top all the time, you're going to have to twist it in the middle. And of course, you're using your finger to give you the measurement on the outside, because each level needs to be a little wider than the one before. And this is double pattern because I added the smaller ribbon on top. And when you get to the very end, fold that piece under. Next, you're going to grab that with both hands, scrunch it up in the middle, hold that in between your fingers. Then you take your pipe cleaner, and you're going to use your pipe cleaner to secure all the middle pieces. Wrap that tightly, twist it around a few times. Then you're taking your tail that you had cut and set aside. You're going to take that, scrunch that in the middle, place that on top of the pipe cleaner with the right side facing downward, and then use your pipe cleaner to hold that in place. And once you twist your pipe cleaner as many times as you would like, you can cut that off, and then you just fluff your bow accordingly. I saw someone do this on Pinterest, and I'm like, okay, that gives me an idea. Since my wood round is going to need a large bow, let me do it like this. So here I am showing you how I did it. And then I searched on YouTube and I found one that Dave from Dave's Wreath and Things made. I will link his video down in my description box so you can check that one out as well. I will also post a shorter video with the bows because I know sometimes things like these get hidden in longer videos, so I will post a single one to show you how I made it by itself. So here I am just fluffing the bow, making sure that all of the folds are pulled out and fluffed as much as possible. And then I took the lighter and singed the tails. And now I am ready to glue that onto my swag. I took a piece of jute cord and tied it onto the bow and then tied it onto the swag. Now you can put as much hot glue as possible if you want to glue this down, but I would recommend using the jute cord to tie it on before you actually do that. That way you ensure that it stays in place. And that is done for my first attempt making a mini loop bow. I believe this came out pretty good. Let me know what you think. Of course, with many practices you get better at it, so this is my first time trying it and I'm very happy with how it looks. And fluffed the tail a little bit. Because it's wired, you can fold it in a few times just to give it that pleated look, or you can leave it just hanging plain. Basically, my friends, this is what my wood round sign looks like. I love it. And here I just added a string for hanging. I cut a piece of canvas and just glue that over the knot. Tap down the strings a little so they don't flap around too much, or to keep the bow hanging in one direction. And that is it, my friends. Let me know what you think. So my video is a part of the 12 days of Christmas, day 5, which is Christmas signs. And this playlist is hosted by Brenda from Rustic and Lace DIY and Krista from Krista's Crafty Life. Now the 12 days of Christmas, each day a new theme is added and you're supposed to post your video for that theme. I didn't participate in the other days. I just did day 1 and day 5, and I probably will be participating in a few more days into number 12, but we'll see. So that is what this is. Make sure to check out Brenda's channel, Krista's channel, and the playlist for day number 5 down in my description box below. So let's jump into our next inspiration, and the other 2 inspiration are going to be very quick because they're very simple. So I took this Dollar Tree calendar and I removed the Merry Christmas page, and we're going to be doing a calendar sign. The calendar page is square and our board is round, so I took some folk art coffee latte and I'm just painting out the sides, both top and bottom, and the 2 sides of the board. Now when I was done, it looked a little too much like the color of the board, so I went over that with some folk art coconut milk, and this is what it looks like when I was done. I took this spray glue from the Dollar Tree. I have had this in my stash for like years. Sprayed the board down a few times and then placed the calendar sheet on top of that. Used my palm to just smooth that out, and then place the parchment paper over it and use a little heat to activate that glue underneath and to secure it. I then took the sides that were hanging off. I used this sanding block to just sand that off. I didn't want to throw those out, so I just used them to cover those pieces on the sides that were still showing. These ribbons, I got these from Dollar General. Made a messy bow. I did not like how the messy bow looked on top of there, so I'm going to use a piece of this ribbon. I got this from Temu, and I just cut off a piece, glue down the ends with a little hot glue, And then because the ribbon was too stiff, I decided to slit the sides, which I should not have, because after I did that, I didn't like how it looked. When I added the jute cord, it was going too far in the middle. But anyway, I worked with it. So then I cut another piece and dovetail that, and then put the bow on top of that, scrunch it in the middle, and then just tied it with the jute cord. If you are coming over from the playlist, welcome. I'm so happy you decided to join me here today. Here on this channel, you will find budget-friendly DIYs, thrift flip, trash to treasure, and some dupes. If that is what you are interested in, you are in the right place. Next, before I glued on the bow, I flipped it over, added a piece of jute cord for hanging, cut a piece of canvas and just use that to cover the knots, and then glued on the bow. I didn't think I needed to add anything else to this because it would have been too crowded, but I thought that it still needed a little bit more. So I had these little pine cones. I just glued them on, a couple right at the top and below the bow, and then I found a piece of berry and glued that in the middle, and that tied in the colors on my calendar page. And that is it, guys. I love this little one. Let me know what you think about this. If you find value in the content, please ensure to subscribe. Also like, share, and comment down below because I enjoy reading your comments. We'll see more of that in the final reveal. But our next inspiration, I got this little sign from the Dollar General for 50 cents. Now I didn't want to do too much to this because I figured I'll just use it as is for now, and then later on if I decide to keep it, I'll repurpose this at another time. But for now we're just gonna use as is and just embellish a little bit. So I took my black ink pad and just distressed the edges, made a little bow from this ribbon from the Dollar Tree using a piece of jute cord. Glue that at the top left corner. Well, before I glued it on, I took the lighter and burned off the fuzzies from the hanger. And I got this bag of Christmas stamps, also from the Dollar General. And I went through it just to find some that would look a little good on here. And if you see the colors, we have Santa, we have Christmas tree, we have gingerbread man, we have snowflakes. So I selected a few, tested it on a piece of paper just to make sure that the ink transferred properly. And then I'm going to add that right below the welcome sign. And like I said, this is just simple, like a quick and easy project. If you want to do this over, of course you have that option. If you want to flip this around and do the reverse side, you also have that option. But I wanted this to be quick and easy, so I'm just doing it this way. Then I glued on the ribbon and we are off to the races. Here comes the final reveal. Let me know which one of these Christmas sign DIYs was your favorite today. Mine is the Happy Holidays wood round. Love the colors, love how everything blended in well together. I also love the calendar page sign. Cute, cute, cute. But guys, let me know which one of these was your favorite. Don't forget to check out Brenda's channel, Krista's channel, as well as the playlist that's listed down below. And if you would like to connect with me outside of YouTube, you may scan that QR code. You'll find all the links to reach me at. So my next video may be on the 7th or the 10th for gingerbread man or tier tray. I'm not sure yet, but you'll see. So make sure your notifications are on so you'll be notified when I upload my next video. If you love budget-friendly content like this and would like to watch more, here's another video that you can watch or enjoy this playlist. And until my next one, stay safe, my friends, and I'll catch you then. Bye!